Good night, good night, good night, good night, everyone. Once again, I'm here to tell you guys Happy New Year. I'm not going to talk about my handsome face anymore. It's the new year, so we're coming up with new things. But obviously, today is indeed a Saturday, so we have our NFL podcast. I'm joined by Devin, the all-rounder. Gary is here, finally early. I really love that. Love the change, boss. And then we have Mr. Black. I'll just leave it at that. Mr. Black
Yeah,
is
man.
here.
The prodigal son return.
Finally, he's here, back again. How we doing, gentlemen? Before we start the show, I want, I want to obviously, go on a little personal note. I want you guys to tell me, obviously, what, what do you think, for the new year, personally, one want to achieve, and also like for the podcast itself. Where would you want to see the podcast go for the new year 2022? We can start with Devin. Go ahead.
Hey, we have to start today, man. Personally, I I was thinking about another child, but yeah, yeah, cause I'm still thinking about it, so that's something to look forward for the new year.
Okay, okay. All right, all right.
I don't know how much feasible that is. I have to go check with the doctor, see what's going on. Yeah. In terms of otherwise, for career wise, I might think about like going to a that is more feasible right now. Going to like a different level, teaching at a different level, a level that I'm more comfortable with, like the bigger kids.
Mm,
For the podcast, definitely want to see the growth, because the content is one of the best out there. I'm sure of that. It's second to none. But in terms of the numbers, we want to see the numbers
yeah,
definitely. Because when I look at some other not calling a name, some other online content, it's not as good as this. But we just want to see the numbers. We just want to see the
for
numbers.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure. All right, Gary,
Yeah.
go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Personally, I don't really like to talk about personal thing too much, but for my personal, life, not probably not this year necessarily, but going forward, I want to take on a wife, try to build a family and these things,
Yes,
not go
yes,
Finally.
somewhere
sir.
to be by themselves, So
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
that's are the future. That's are the plans. I mean, career wise, I mean, construction and project management. So I look towards doing our own, my personal thing. I mean, eventually, because I work with the government. So eventually, I'm gonna look for going to my own thing, my own company.
Wonderful, wonderful,
Um,
wonderful.
for the show, I I already relate some things to the Kems.
Yep.
Got some suggestions through my brother, for us to expand the show because you know I'm looking for it to become bigger than it is now in
Of
terms of the
course.
content, us to come on sometimes and we have the stats. Like we see them do the shows on ESPN and Fox, we have different blocks and we can just reel some figures and put some substantial concrete arguments to back where we spend most of the time. Yeah, we know the games and we know the sport and sometimes we can talk off head. But
Yeah.
sometimes, a man say, all right, this year LeBron shot whatever percentage it was this. The advanced analytics say that this was happening this year and whatever.
Yes, sir.
Have some research and bring some statistics, even though not exclusively stats we're gonna talk, but sometimes some of the arguments, even though we can factually say this is what happened, I will see the games, sometimes it would bring some stats and to the arguments that, so we can make the thing be a bit more professional. But yeah, that's my vision for the thing, it grow and get more professional, you know. But it's a learning curve, as you say. It starts out by one, two step, three step, and then you know the marathon. Yeah, basically that.
Appreciate that, boss. Doing.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Go
as what Gary alluded to, right? I'm thinking like if you are gonna give some stats, we'll have to have do your research and send in the information to the producer. So when you ready for talk about any specific topic, you can say, producer, bring up such and such. You understand? And it would be
Yeah.
readily available more than them doing the research because are we on the show and are we speaking about specific topics? So it is. I think the impetus should be on us to do the research and provide the information for the show.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said though, Mr.
Yeah,
Black.
yeah.
That's exactly what he said.
Okay.
Yeah. But what are your personal goals, Mr. Black, for 2022? You can
Well,
just share one.
well, right. Well, okay. Well, and I say me a piggyback on Devin, but me that think about another child, but to me get a grandchild, you know, so I don't know how that part they go work. But well, right now, evolving, you know, I'm becoming a trainer. I'm gonna train this week to be a trainer. Starting next week, I should say, to be a trainer. So, you know, teach a skill of the truck driving to the newer people them and you know expand then become a owner operator have a few trucks retire early and then come back out and go back home because this is not my place.
Understood, boss. For me, really quickly, um, I'm like Gary. When I really share too much about my personal life, I let people out there go ahead and assume what they want to assume. But for me, I'm along the lines with Gary as well. Like I think say this year I'm moving a lady, you know. But it's 2022,
Mm,
so a woman must can propose to me now. Man proposing gone long
mm,
time. So a woman must can go upon them knees and propose to me.
the
But
the girl in truck brought down.
but you know, we just
Crazy.
it's hard, man. Honestly, I'm gonna try to turn it into one other podcast because obviously it's sports, but it's hard to do it by yourself. So really and truly I look for, moving a lady, start building a family, probably a child either this year or next year, preferably next year. I'm there in school right now, so I have to be careful what I do with where that is concerned. So that's that. All right. So, gentlemen, thank you so much for the podcast for me. I just want to definitely help it grow. We want to continue the subscribers, continue the view. As Devin say, I believe we bring excellent content here, mixed with also being interesting because on a podcast, you can't only bring the facts and so you have to be interesting. You have to make people want to watch you. People want to watch you say, people want to hear what you say. So I believe that, what the producer and obviously the original host Levon has planned for, the new year, I believe it can garner some more views and, we're going to put ourselves more out there. I think, we definitely have to take a few risks and just put yourself out there and really don't have nothing to lose because I believe that we can compete with the best of them. And as Devin said, I see a lot of podcasts out there who is not even as good as ours, but them have 500 views. So sometimes it's even a popularity contest as well. So we just have to put yourself out there. And as I told everyone yesterday, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So we'll get there, when we're supposed to get there. All right. So NFL producer. Put up that first one for us, please. And Gary, you need a beating, but you can pick Saints for the people them show for beat the
All right.
Dolphins.
No, to be honest, me not
Yes.
about to justify. Me know what happened. You ever have the feeling, me just have the feeling. Me never know say,
Yeah, I forgot what should have feeling. So I want to start with the playoff picture. So if the playoffs were supposed to start today, this would be and I'm really, I have to talk about Miami. I am really impressed with Miami. Miami were 1-7, down, out, and busted. Then, they went on a 7-game winning streak. Now they're 8-7, and they're in the seventh seed. If they were supposed to today, they'd have played Tennessee, and I think they'd have beat Tennessee. As I'm thinking, they're going to beat Tennessee on Sunday. So Devin, with that being said, when you look at this, both the AFC and the NFC, if you want to do the AFC first and then the NFC, it's up to you. But when you look at this, right, you're looking, and obviously, the way how the playoffs work for the viewers who don't understand. So the number one seed, they get a bye for the first week, right? So they won't play in the first week. The following week, they will play the team with the lower seeding. So if the 7th seed is still there, then they'll play the 7th seed. If the 6th seed is the lower seed, then they'll play the 6th seed, and so on and so forth. So Devin, with that being said, you look at this visual. Is there any particular matchup you're looking at and you're saying, boy, this team can make it all the way to the Super Bowl? When you look at the match, because I believe in sports, as much as talent has a lot to do with it, I believe matchups. Yeah. Hello, Uncle Gary.
Our niece, right?
Yes, man. Big up yourself, area. But Devin, when you come on to that, right? Who do you see could make that Super Bowl run? Which team?
Oh, definitely Green Bay. And like you said, with the talent, and all right, the talk was all about with Green Bay, the offensive weapons are always there, right? So Devontae Adams was there. You have a lot of the receiving core too, they're also good, but also Aaron Jones runs the ball, and Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. But with all of this, they have a complete team. And then what Aaron Rodgers has shown he can do without his weapons, he has been good without like at least 4 or 5 starters, and he's beating like good teams. Now, you talk about the matchups, right? But there's also another thing in there in terms of that, like a team's motivation and their mindset. They were knocked out last year by the eventual champions in Tom Brady in that round, and I think Aaron Rodgers is looking to say, he's so great. Everybody has him as like one of the greatest QB, probably one of the greatest in the game and everything. But he has 1 Super Bowl ring, so he's really looking to go, probably to cap it off with an MVP season along with a ring. So he's really looking apart. Like you said, he can match up against everybody. They can match up against everybody. They have the offensive, they have the defense. The defense is better now, but in terms of the motivation, he will be saying, all right, I need a ring. I need a ring. I know, like, for Green Bay, it's not just about Aaron Rodgers, but he's crucial to everything. As we saw the game when he was out and Love came in, it wasn't anything pretty. So now I'm thinking they can go all the way. There are other teams there. Kansas is there. The talk is about Dallas, but Dallas hasn't won a playoff series for us to say, okay, all right, can we take them serious? But I'm thinking in all of this, Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, he really wants this. And then now, the summer is going to come when he's going to play with the media, play with everybody to say, all right, is he going to still be in Green Bay, or is he going to move, go to a Steelers, go to a Broncos? But I'm thinking, along with this, the motivation and the real talent and the matchup and everything, I'm looking to Green Bay. I'm looking to Green Bay.
All right, perfect. Thank you for that. And Kemal Rose is saying, who is you guys' favorite for the Super Bowl? So I'll talk quickly. For me, I am looking at a green. If the seeding stay like this, I'm looking at a Green Bay Colts Super Bowl. I believe that the Colts is a team that no one wants to play against. No one wants to play against those Colts, boy. What do you say, Gary? Who would you say for the Super Bowl?
In the NFC, I'm looking at Green Bay, to be honest. Aaron Rodgers is playing at the top of his game right now, having an MVP caliber season. The defense has come around in the last few games, and they have great running back in Aaron Jones. The receivers are there. Devontae Adams is the best receiver in the game. So I think they are the prohibitive favorites in the NFC. You have other teams there can make some noise. The Rams are there. They have an explosive offense. They have weapons. They can run the ball as well. So I'm looking at the Rams as a threat. I'm not sure what is happening with Arizona. I think they were in over their heads. We started, to crown them NFC champions before when they were 7-0. But the last few games, I'm looking at Kyler Murray. I don't know if it's the injury that he was coming off, but he hasn't been looking himself. They have been playing very badly over the last few games. DeAndre Hopkins has been out. So I'm not sure what to make of them, but I don't see them. If they make it to if they're going to end up with probably the number, who knows, probably the number 2 or 3 seed. But I'm looking at Green Bay in the NFC picture. Over on the AFC, I don't know. To be honest, I don't see Kansas City making the AFC, making it from the AFC. I think there'll be you'll have a spoiler this year. I'm not confident in Mac Jones. The Patriots, run the ball very well, but when it comes to the playoffs, you need a quarterback that can really make throws, and he's not one that I see Bill Belichick putting his trust in to throw the ball, multiple times, or at least 25, 30 times for the game. So the running game is very critical when it comes to the playoffs, because the weather is a factor. The cold, the snow, in a lot of these stadiums this time around, this time of year. So you said the Colts earlier. I'm not writing off the Colts. They can make it all the way, but Tennessee, I'm looking at Tennessee as well. The teams with the strongest running games in the AFC, I'm looking at. To be honest, I don't see Kansas City going this far this year. But I'm looking at Green Bay in the NFC, and probably Colts, or maybe the Bills out of the AFC. But I'm kind of iffy on the AFC, because their teams are not as there are a lot of question signs in my book on the AFC teams. They kind of are wanting in some areas, especially when it comes to running the game. The best running game in the AFC is the Colts. So I'm looking at Green Bay and maybe the Colts in the AFC.
All right, Dwayne, Shanila Ellis, I want you to take on this one, Dwayne. Shanila Ellis is saying, what do you think about the Colts making it?
I don't see the Colts making it to the Super Bowl, right? Because
Why
in
is
the
that?
playoffs, because they are gonna stop the box to stop Taylor, and then it's gonna left to Wentz to win them the game. And I don't see Wentz beating the likes of Mahomes, and I don't see him. To me, the Titans would be a better team, because they are more experienced, especially in terms of recently going to the playoffs. So I would like I would I wouldn't be surprised if the Titans make it, because we thought that Henry was just Henry's team, and they are still fighting, and they are leading their division ahead of the Colts. So
No, but
as a spoiler, I know they're 2-5 since he left, but he was the heart and soul of the team, and they won games that even the games that they won against the 49ers. To me, they show
Jimmy
great
G gave them
resolve.
that game. Hell no,
Jimmy,
Jimmy G
that is
gave
the
them that
problem.
game.
That is the thing with Jimmy G, and me always I tell people that. So Jimmy G is mistake prone. Him remind me of Matt Ryan when the Falcons had a good team. So, but as I segue to something else, you guys are missing something about Green Bay, which is very, very important in the playoff. Green Bay as of lately has been terrible against the run, right?
Agreed.
And
Yes, sir.
if team is gonna run the ball and they can't stop the run, Rogers is gonna be watching the game from the sideline, because they look at that game that they won. If the Browns had a better quarterback, they would have won that game easily, because they could not stop the run.
Yep.
So that's
Nick Chubb.
they are not complete. They have flaws, so they need to work on that. But I think the Rams are a more dangerous team going to the,
I
the
I
Super Bowl
disagree.
than
I disagree.
and
I disagree, and let me tell you why I
you know.
disagree.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I disagree. All right? So I agree with your point about Green Bay can't stop the run, because I believe it was 6 yards, or it was 6 yards per attempt. The Browns were having against. It was
eight.
eight.
Sorry, 8. Yeah, 8 yards
Yeah,
around. And
eight,
them
eight
Come
still
on,
yards
have
per
7.5.
Francis
attempt.
Yeah.
Baker.
Nick Chubb
Yeah,
ran the ball for about
yeah,
120.
yes, man. Nick Chubb,
20.
Nick Chubb. Everybody
17
who them,
carries for 125 yards.
everyone who Cleveland put in was running that football down Green Bay throat. But obviously Nick Chubb was the standout because he had two big runs in that game. He had a 40 plus, he had a 40 yarder, and then he had another, I think it was a 60 something yarder, something like that. Right? But my thing with the Rams is that, and if you look at it, anytime Rams play a physical team, they get soft, they get quail up. They play the 49ers. 49ers whoop them up all over the place, rough them up. They play Green Bay. The Packers rough them up all over the place. They play a little softy Tampa Bay, finesse Tampa Bay. They get beat up like a Tampa Bay. So I'm believing that. And Dwayne, to your point, I believe every team has a weakness. No team is perfect. But how you make a team great is how much you can use your strengths to cover up that weakness. So just like you're saying, okay, Aaron Rodgers will be on the sidelines. I believe it's the same way Aaron Rodgers said, well, boy, they have a good running back on that team, Let us run this football and run down the clock. Because remember, we have Aaron Jones and we have AJ Dillon. And AJ Dillon is a physical back. I love that guy. He reminds me of Leonard Fournette. He will run over people. He'll fight for those gritty 2 yards, those gritty 3 yards. But we might need to get that first down in order to extend that drive. So obviously, yes, it was kind of disappointing for that Cleveland game where Baker had 3 turnovers up until the time that he threw the fourth. But he had 3 turnovers and he still was within touching distance of winning the game. That's very concerning for any particular team. But I saw Shanila Ellis ask a question. She's saying, shouldn't Tampa be favored? They have the GOAT and the defending Super Bowl, and they are defending Super Bowl champs. Shanila Ellis, let me educate you a little bit about this team, right? This team is fighting to give Tom Brady the MVP, and that is why they're not going to win the Super Bowl, because instead of running their offensive sets, they're fighting to give a 44-year-old man the MVP just so that they can celebrate a particular narrative. And I keep on telling people, you are disqualified from the GOAT conversation, and anyone who wants to take me on with it, I'm really ready tonight. You are disqualified from the GOAT conversation if your team is forcefully trying to let you win the MVP. If you are the GOAT, you go out there and you execute to the best of your ability in order to do it. Tom Brady has thrown the ball 160 plus more times than Aaron Rodgers. But for the Pro Bowl, what happened? Aaron Rodgers is a starter. Right now in the MVP vote, Aaron Rodgers is number 1. Right? So it goes to show when Bruce Arians said, okay, Tom, time to throw the ball against the Saints. What happened twice? Turnovers, and then he got shut out. That shutout that he had against the Saints, I think that one crushed his Super Bowl dreams. And remember, Aaron Rodgers played the Vikings coming up on Sunday, and there is no Kirk Cousins. So you can expect a monster game from Aaron Rodgers and a blowout by the Green Bay Packers. So I think we can agree. So Shania, to answer your question, it was a fluke that they won the Super Bowl last season. I can show it to you. I'll show it to you separately, Shanina, and I'll teach you about pass interference and stuff. The referee missed a clear pass interference on Green Bay, and then the next position that Tampa had caused some stupid pass interference and allowed them to extend the drive. So those are the things that have benefited Tom Brady all of his flipping career, and it annoys me so much because for a man who is so great has to be given so much breaks in life. Anyone has anything to say on that, or we can move on?
Just want to touch on Tampa Bay. Just want to touch on Tampa Bay quickly.
Go ahead.
Oh, in the NFC, a lot of the experts, and if you look at them closely, they are not. Remember last year after they went on the bye and they came back, they won a number of games, right? Coming back after the bye this year, they have struggled. They have some injury concerns. Chris Godwin is out.
Yep.
Fournette is out. Mike Evans sprained his calf. So on offense, their major weapons on offense have really been out the last few games, and there are question signs going into the playoffs for these weapons. So looking at Tom Brady, it depends a lot on these these are the major guys in the offense, right?
Yep.
Fournette catches the ball well out of the backfield. You know, Evans is a go-to guy on the goal go to goal. I think
Yep.
he has the most touchdowns on first and goal in the league in the last 4 years. So just throw it up between him in the end zone and he catches it. So that's his go-to guy in the end zone. And he's a speedster. He gets out on the go routes and he catches the ball very well. Godwin is not as explosive. He does a lot of his damage inside the numbers. So those are the primary weapons on offense for him. And the defense has, kind of struggled against the run a little bit of late. So there are a number of question signs against Tampa Bay. And when you watch the games that the Saints play, persons are saying, all right, I hear the analysts say the blueprint for Tom Brady is not everybody can execute the blueprint efficiently. What Tom Brady needs to get, for him to struggle is to get him off his spot. It's once he packs that ball, he's like a deer in headlights. You got to get him. I hear Cameron Jordan saying, once you hit him, and you hit him faster, every time you hit him faster, he's aware of what is happening and what is coming. So he tries to force feed, he tries to push the ball out of his hands much quicker. So you have a front that gets to the quarterback very quickly. He doesn't deal with pressure very well. Once you get him off that spot and get him flustered, he'll tend to make mistakes. So he doesn't like to be hit. If you notice, he kind of flinches in the pocket when he knows that hit is coming, and you have a ferocious front that can get to him. So once he you give him a lot of, time to get the ball, out and makes his reads, first read, second read, third read, and start there. And he gets the ball out of his hands to the receivers on his own sweet time. He's brilliant. But once you force him and rush him into making the reads very quickly and get him off his spot, he tends to struggle against a ferocious front. But you really have to have the personnel to do that. So I don't see Tampa in the mix this year as probably last season, because they were picking up steam after the bye. You realize after the bye this year they are struggling. Even when they were well up by the Saints last season, 36-3. I think they went on a run after that. But you notice they struggled against the Saints immediately after the bye, and they still have not looked good. So I think a lot of the experts, and I wouldn't have them in the mix this year because of those critical or key injuries on the offensive side of the ball and how they have been really looking after the bye. So I wouldn't really want to put Tampa Bay in the mix. We'd rather put LA Rams ahead of them right now. I don't know, the Cardinals probably not so much, but they're probably at least the fourth best team in the NFC right now based on current form.
All right,
Kems.
So,
Quickly before we move on, we can't just allow we're not get into it, because it's not the show for it, but we can't allow you to make such statement and just leave it like that, because you're saying I agree with you about Tampa and the whole Argonite and everything trying to just boost the numbers, even though everybody's saying it's a lock. It's almost a lock for Aaron Rodgers, but what they're trying to do is just boost the numbers, because you can look to see his numbers will be better than Rodgers, but then it's not just about numbers. Like about 6 podcasts ago, we said that Rodgers is beating better quality teams. So you have to take that into fact. But the thing about Super Bowl champion was a fluke, and he always be getting calls. Calls been going good for everybody. You remind me of when people used to talk about your favorite team and the coach Alex Ferguson. He used to say like, oh, it's Fergie time. He's gonna get some calls. A lot of the championship that he won is because the referee was giving some calls to Man U, and that takes away from some of his greatness. It just sound like that to you. You're saying, okay, this man getting some calls. Yes, we can talk about Deflategate. Yes, we can talk about some of these spying and whatever allegations, right?
Exactly.
We can talk about those, but guess what?
All right.
Him winning all of those rings is not a fluke, and it's not just because he gets these calls and it's all.
No, I mean,
too much with that.
Put up other things to take away from the greatness. There's greatness to the man game, and he won the Super Bowl. Calls go to and in favor of some players, go against some players. I don't think they definitely try to give these calls to him so that he can win. No, that's just my 2 cents. I can be wrong, you can be right, but I just want to give my 2 cents on that.
I
You
appreciate.
can rebut. You can rebut because you're the host. So.
No. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that because we have to move on. You know, we'll talk about it another day. Because you know, if I start, then we can go on, and it's a never-ending conversation. But Devin, you know,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with you on this one because I brought this up on the show some time ago about the Seattle Seahawks, and I asked you guys, hey, is it time for that 70-year-old Pete Carroll to leave this franchise? Again, if you look in the division, they're in the NFC West, right? And for the viewers, that's the bottom right, right? They're in the NFC West. They have LA Rams, who have Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, offensive coach. The Arizona Cardinals, they have Cliff Kingsbury, they have Kyler Murray, along with DeAndre Hopkins and them boys, Zach Ertz and them boys. San Francisco, they have Debo Samuel, and they have Kyle Shanahan and whoever they're going to put at QB.
I'm the quarterback. We're not call it quarterback.
I don't know who they're going to put at QB. I don't know. Trey Lance.
That's their only weakness. That's their only weakness.
But there are three offensive coaches in this division. And then we look at Seattle. Defensive coach, stubborn, only wants to run the football, even with no running back.
No O-line.
Trying to put all the blame on Russell. No defense. They trade away all their first round picks for Jamal Adams. He didn't pan out. When you look at this, Devin, don't you just see an inevitable divorce between Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll?
Oh, definitely. I don't know which way it would go, but like with Pete Carroll, I still have him up from that playoff game when
that Super Bowl.
Yeah, Super Bowl when he made that call and people were saying it was a good call, but like I said, the guy name again never used to talk. Never used to talk. Lynch. Give the man the ball. Nobody could stop them. Man, you could put like you know doing all this like when it come on to certain teams that are one-dimensional, you crowd the box and you know you stop the running. But like you could put 20 man in there. And Kems, I'm gonna draw on your thing again. The beauty about greatness is that you know what somebody's gonna do and you can't stop it. Give the ball to the man, let the man run. So from that time, he made some calls and I don't like it. The organization itself, too, Kems, will have to look at it too. Russell Wilson has to be always running for his life, you know, and you know, so he needs some protection within the offensive line. But then with Pete Carroll too, I don't know if it's the play calling and you know trying to be too defensive and not being like as aggressive as the other people in the division, and they need some help. So I don't know. I would prefer Carroll to go and get a different voice in there. And then, you know, the offensive line got to be better. But trust me, Russell Wilson definitely deserves better. And I'm not a fan of Pete Carroll from that time. You know, he may like for him to be in the NFL, he's a great coach. But like sometimes these play calling, like Gary always said that don't try to be about you, the coach. You know what I mean? And you know, we can go on to Kaishan and that's for a different story. Like, let it be about the players and the best play. Don't want to make it look like, oh, you're a genius. Just go for the simple play. And sometimes he's one of those coaches from those times. You know, it always got to be about him, these defensive. Try to go with the times, try to see what's the best strategy out there, and don't let it be centered around you. You're a coach, man. It should be about the players.
Yep. All right. Devin, you know, I totally agree with you. I've been Pete Carroll out from last season. You know, 70-year-old man who is very defensive, should probably try and be a defensive coordinator somewhere, but not a head coach, especially in the NFC West. So, Dwayne, since we're talking about Russell Wilson, coming up in this offseason, you know, there are going to be a lot of teams that need quarterback, you know. And off the top of my head, I can tell you, the Pittsburgh Steelers, for sure, they're going to need a quarterback. The Denver Broncos, for sure, they're going to need a quarterback. I'm iffy on the Saints. I don't know how.
I mean, iffy on the Saints at the first game,
No, I don't know how Jameis Winston will come back. Remember,
boy,
Jameis was 5-2. Jameis was 5-2 before he went out. You know.
That's true, but boy, I don't know. I don't know if the long term answer for.
I don't think Russell Wilson is a big upgrade on Jameis Winston. I don't see it.
No,
You're
Kems,
crazy.
Of
You're
course,
crazy. You're
Kems,
of
crazy.
course.
Kems.
You're
Come
taking
on.
No,
the crazy
No,
listen,
pill.
I'm gonna just
no,
end the
You're
podcast.
no,
Are
taking
no,
the
you
no.
serious right
crazy
now?
pill.
Kems,
You're
Lord,
taking the
Lord.
crazy pill.
which James Winston you talk about? Kems, may I give you a chance to
No. All right. The way
no, me
how we
not
see,
talk about this.
so the way how we see Russell Wilson, the way how we see Russell Wilson play this season, right? We are willing to say that. And since Shanila Ellis is saying, I think Sierra wants to move to a big market team, and I agree because obviously, for who doesn't know, Sierra is indeed an entertainer.
Mhm.
So she probably wants to go to the Giants. She wants to go to the big apple. I don't know if she'll want to go to
Giants
Denver.
dysfunctional. It better him stay at Seattle more than go to the Giants.
No, I
Every
wouldn't.
new what?
No, I think the Giants just need a quarterback. The Giants have a good
Yeah.
defense. The Giants have a
Mhm.
great offensive weapons. I think they just need a quarterback who can throw that football,
Yeah,
sit in the
but the
pocket, and bring a
offensive
winning
line is
culture.
weak. And the middle
Yeah,
still
but
a run for him life.
Yeah, I think
yeah,
the
yeah.
offensive line. They need to show the offensive line
No,
though.
I
Yeah.
don't. No, I don't think. I don't think the Giants. I don't think the Giants' offensive line is weak. I don't think.
No, it's
Well,
not. It's not special though. I think Daniel
There's
Jones is
only
running all over the place. The line is not good though. It's not good. It's not top. It's not top notch. Probably in the middle of the pack.
yeah, them not good. The
They're not
best
special.
to me, I
The
agree
Giants
with
would be a
Gary.
bad option though, Kems. I think what they need, as you outlined, the defense is good. I think they might need to just probably get a couple pieces on the offensive line and
Yeah,
because
that's
remember, right now the problem in Seattle they are having, outside of Russell Wilson playing very terribly, right?
yeah.
The offensive line is not good. The defense is bad.
it's
Offensive
worse.
line is not good. He's scrambling, running all over the place. He's playing like garbage though. But the team is totally in
And he
disarray.
don't have a
It's a
number one
complete mess.
receiver. He doesn't have a number. Metcalf is a good.
No man, him have Tyler Lockett and Metcalf is
And
struggling, but Tyler Lockett is prolific, putting up prolific numbers. I don't think the
no,
offense is necessarily a problem. I think the offense is
Lockett
not
is a
bad,
deep
but the
threat.
defense.
And
Is
they
a deep
just look
threat.
like a team that's just, some team when from early out when they had chance of making the playoff, they just look like they're out of it, like they're not even concerned. It's like they just don't look like they care. There's this other guy
Uh,
Bobby Wagner, that big
Yeah,
linebacker.
Yeah, man,
It's like,
Wagner.
they're gonna move him. I think
yeah,
they're gonna trade
when
him.
you see them playing, doing, it's like the man them not care about playing. You can know some team were just hungry for
mm,
playing, even though they are losing. It's like they look like they don't even care.
And
Like,
yeah,
and
the
they're
team
not.
is team
I
is
don't
bad
cut
right
you.
now.
no, I'm done. I'm
They're
done.
not used to losing neither because they're always in the playoffs. This is
Oh,
the first
probably,
time
yeah.
from
The
Russell
era,
Wilson has been on that team. He's gonna have a losing
yeah.
record. This
And
is
this
the
is
first
first
time.
year. I think they said this is Pete Carroll's first year having a double win double loss season because he usually has been making the playoffs a lot of years. And 10 wins, 10 losses, sorry, is the most he has ever had in the season since Russell Wilson has been there. They usually probably I think one year they were 500, but usually they're at least a 9-10 win team. So this year has been their worst year since Russell Wilson was around since about 2012. So they have been really struggling. And I think they need to change jump ship on Carroll. And they need to just get some pieces. They need defensive players. They need offensive line. They need to shore up. I think as Kems noted, basically looking at that NFC West picture, that
Yeah,
they are the last in that division among the
yeah.
teams, right?
Okay.
You have the Rams and they have a young team. You see the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is young. They have nice weapons. Cliff Kingsbury, their coach, is a young coach.
Yeah.
So when you look at all the teams, even the Niners with Jimmy G, yes, they're not sure on the future of Jimmy G. They drafted Trey
Mm-hmm.
Lance,
Yep.
as a possible future option to replace Jimmy G. But they have nice offensive weapon. Demas Samuel accounts for about 65%. I think it was about 60% of their offense because he does everything. He takes the ball, runs it out of the backfield. Is an explosive weapon. He's basically their offense. And all of those teams are good. And they
No,
have good strengths.
that's
But
the thing, Gary. That's the thing, Gary. Hold on, I don't mean for coach you, right? But that's the
yeah.
thing. All these coaches are offensive coaches, every single one of them.
Mhm.
And this is the thing, if you look at the good teams in the league, right? If you look at the good teams in the league right now, are the teams who are in the playoffs, the playoff picture right now, it's either they have an offensive coach or they have a stud offensive coordinator. Because obviously Bill Belichick is not an offensive coach, but they have Josh McDaniels. What I name there? Matt Dermott of the Bills is not an offensive coach, but they have Vrabel, I think his name is. Yeah.
No man,
Yeah, that's
Verbal
it.
is the coach.
No man.
Tennessee.
No, I'm name. Dable. Who that's his name?
Can't
No man,
Bills
remember
coach.
them.
Vrabel is Tennessee coach.
No, Vrabel. Dable or whatever. What name?
I don't remember what name, but
Gayball. I think Gayball is
No.
with
No man. Let me tell you the Bills coach name. The Bills offensive coach. Yeah, see it here? Brian Dable. See it here?
Yeah, man, Brian
Dable.
Gayball. Brian
Gable.
Gayball.
Yeah.
Gayball.
Okay.
I think it's Gabol in name spell.
No man,
Gayball.
Dable.
Oh,
Right?
D-A.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So Brian Dable. So
I
he's
was
an
calling
offensive
Gayball.
coach, right? And then if you look at Kansas City, well, Andy Reid, smart coach, but them have Bieniemy there as well, right? So, but then they have Allman Pete Carroll with an offensive coordinator that Russell Wilson don't like. Obviously, they changed the offensive coordinator from last season, then bring in another one, and they're still not getting along. But another team I want to ask you about, Gary, and I'm not going to ask you about the Saints, right? But I'm going to ask you about two teams in that particular division. What do you do with Matt Ryan, one, and from the Atlanta Falcons, and what do you do with the Carolina Panthers with their situation? Because Sam Darnold is not it, Cam Newton is not it, PJ Walker, whatever his name is not it. So, is that a destination now for probably a Russell Wilson? They have a good defense. They have a good defense. They're out there in Charlotte, and
yeah. All right. The NFC South was one at one point. I remember a couple of years they were probably the best division in the NFL because they had two former MVPs in their height. Matt Ryan was an MVP, went to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton was an MVP, went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, first ballot Hall of Famer Drew Brees. The weakest link in that division was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Jameis Winston. So they were really one of the top divisions. Now, Brees is retired. Cam Newton went and did some journey, come around back now to the Panthers. Matt Ryan is still there, but I think he's I don't know if the Falcons are willing to give up on Matt Ryan. But the offense, when you look at them, some weeks they are atrocious. Other weeks they look prolific when they're playing really bad defenses. Their defense is not very special, but I think the quarterback situation for the Falcons, I would say Matt Ryan on his last leg basically. I think they should be looking to draft a quarterback in the next draft. Their situation is not so bad as Carolina do. But when I'm looking at Carolina's situation, their defense has been playing pretty well. The quarterback situation, we all know they don't have, even the last week they had to bench Cam Newton because he was playing very awful. Sam Darnold came back off injury. He's been rotating with him and Cam. He's not the answer either.
So they also name Sam Darnold as the starter.
As the starter, yeah. But they are looking to. But I think it is a trial and error situation. But Carolina's situation is their name a starter, and within the game, as the flow and ebbs and flow of the game continues, depends on how the quarterback is playing. If Sam Darnold gets atrocious, they'll pull him and put in Cam. We saw that the last game where Cam was playing. they pull Cam and put in Sam Darnold. So I don't know. It is like a Ferris wheel in the quarterback situation for Carolina. None of the three guys there right now are any option long term or even short to medium term right now. I think they will be best served going into the draft for a quarterback because their quarterback situation is very, very terrible. And the team is very good because they have Robbie Anderson, a good wide out. They have nice offensive pieces. So they really need a quarterback. Go ahead, David.
So Gary, all I'm saying, I don't know about the quarterback in the drafts are coming up, but you see, like around this year,
Yeah.
that's when people start look at certain teams to say, all right, based on their
True.
draft pick, whether they should win a game or lose a game. No, people,
No.
nobody's gonna come out and say it. So right now, I'm seeing Carolina, they're projected to pick at 6 right now. But if they lose, this game or like the other game, they can go into the top 5. They can move up
No,
into
but
the top.
the thing is, Devin, there's no,
Yeah.
this is not a strong quarterback draft.
Yeah, I'm
It's
looking
not-
at
No,
it.
it's not
I'm saying I don't know.
The
I'm
FBS.
glad you said that.
It's not
There's
a strong
no-
there's
quarterback.
no-
That's
there's-
why. So, for example, like Detroit, we have the number 1 pick, and I believe Detroit is going to trade down because, I think Detroit is going to trade down and get some picks. Work on the offensive line and probably get another wide receiver. But I don't think this draft that's coming up, the quarterbacks are poor. It's more about offensive linemen, defensive linemen, obviously, corners, and obviously wide receivers is always there, and running backs. But for the
True.
quarterback itself, there's no
Not special.
standout. There's no
No
standout to
standout,
say,
right.
well, yeah, we have a fight for this quarterback. People are trading up to get this quarterback. I think Carolina can even sit where they are at 6 and get the quarterback that they want.
And get the
Because I don't
quarterback.
think-
That's true.
So,
That is true.
I think where the quarterbacks will come from, Devin, I think it will come from free agency.
Free
That is
agents,
where free agency
yeah.
are via trade. I think that's
That's
where
what I said. I
because-
don't know about the draft. I'm glad you said that. But what I know, I've been watching with these picks is like Detroit. As I said, they have a 28% of getting the number 1. But you see, if they win, if they win, Kevs, and these are things I like to follow at this point. If they win,
Yes.
they have a 2% chance of getting the number 1 spot. So it's better for them to continue to lose. Because right now as it stands, they're at 25. So if they continue to lose, it's gonna go up. Because Jaguars is still here in the mix too.
Walk this Jaguars. Walk this Jaguars. So Aaron Rodgers released a statement the other day, but go ahead, producer. Let me see what this one is about. I'll talk about Aaron Rodgers later. All right, so I'm just going to outline the players who got player of the month. We don't really have to talk about them in depth, but obviously for the defense, Aaron Donald, he had 20 tackles, 8 tackles for a loss, 6 sacks, and 2 forced fumbles. This man has been 2-time defensive player of the year. I don't think he'll win this year though. I think he has a lot of competition this year. TJ Watt, Michael Parsons. Huh?
They're gonna give what? Him deserve it because him.
Yeah, TJ has been playing phenomenal.
Him basically win 6 of the 7 game where
Pittsburgh wins. Yep.
Pittsburgh, yeah, single-handedly making plays.
And a lot of persons don't know about this guy, right? A lot of persons don't know about this guy. Jerome Baker of the Dolphins. 16 tackles, 6 tackles for a loss, 3.5 sacks. This guy has been instrumental in the Dolphins' resurgence on defense because the first couple of games, the Dolphins were absolutely atrocious on defense. And this guy has gotten it done for the Dolphins, put them back on track. Him, along with Xavier Howard, and the scheme that the coaches have drawn up, Flores has drawn back to get at the quarterback. If you realize, I think that Ravens game was one of the games that changed it around when they were blitzing Lamar Jackson left, right, and center, and he couldn't get off the mark. All right, producer, next one for us. I think this one is going to be I think it's about to be the offense, I think. Yes. So player of the month for the NFC. Obviously, one and only Aaron Rodgers, right? 75% completion, 811 passing yards, 10 passing touchdowns, obviously, no interceptions, and he has a passing rating of 130. I'm not sure how much more I can say about this man. This man is a genius. But what I wanted to talk about with him is that, and I'll give this to Dwayne, right? He came out and, they asked him a question, how he feels about next season and if he's still going to retire. And he said he hasn't ruled out retiring as yet, but he's basically saying he doesn't want to keep playing when he's sorry. Sorry meaning when he's bad. like he wants to leave the game on a high, not when he's struggling, like a Peyton Manning or struggling like a Drew Brees at that time. He wants to leave the game at the top. So, but I think Aaron Rodgers is out there sending, him always a play with the media. So I think he's sending mixed signals. Yes, I think he's sending mixed signals. What do you think about it, Dwayne?
Him not retire. Him, and one thing with Aaron Rodgers, him now is very petty and him not forget nothing. So him still have up the GM. So he's trying to get him out. Right? Him want Green Bay say is either you stick with me or you stick with the GM. So even though I tell you that their relationship has gotten better, Aaron, I can tell you most quarterbacks are very petty. Him not forget that. And him trying to, I don't think him really want to leave Brady because he's in an ideal situation. But I still think he might try to get the GM fired. That's why I'm coming around because him want the fans them. Because one thing with him, him always want the fans them to be on his side, So he might throw these are the tidbits to say, I might retire. So the fans can say, no, Aaron, please stay with us. So he's just a regular show. I don't really take him serious when he might make certain talk. But I know that him wouldn't mind the GM go.
Well,
so that's how I look
to
at
be fair, but to be fair, he actually came out and defended the GM, right? He defended the GM and he said that, after what happened in the off season, the relationship that they have together, is better than it was, right? Because obviously he said that one thing Aaron Rodgers wanted, and I believe every star player should, he wanted to be a part of the decision making. Out of his own mouth, Aaron Rodgers said, I want to be, and I quote, I want to be a part of the decision that influence my job. I don't see nothing wrong with that. As a quarterback, if they're going to draft a receiver, I don't want to scrum.
A modern time.
I don't want
modern time.
Yeah.
No, but that look, he needed receivers, and they went and drafted his replacement. So,
I don't think they needed receivers because if we look at all they have right now, they have Devontae Adams, of course.
They need a defense at the time. They needed a defensive back and some help on defense.
Yeah, I didn't think they needed a receiver. It would be nice to get him a receiver.
About right now. I talk about when they drafted Love.
At the time. Yeah, maybe they wanted another receiver on the other end to support.
Yeah, they needed another receiver at that time.
Yeah, it was because they didn't have a second, another strong second option. It was always
Devontae. Like the new guy, when him in here or something like that, that dude is a good number 2. So that's why they him not have a force field Adam, because one thing with Aaron, if him not trust you, just like Tom Brady, him not throw you the ball. So he has to trust you so you will catch the ball. Them quarterback they not like when they drop them ball. They have your feet.
Yep.
Yeah, man, Aaron Rodgers known for customer on the field.
Delroy is not on the show because he would be telling us Chiefs. He would tell us Chiefs.
Yo, low my brethren, Low my brethren.
So look at this. Look at this player of the month. Patrick Mahomes, 68.5 completion percentage. Absolutely poor. Aaron Rodgers have 75. 1,110 passing yards. He has more passing yards than Rodgers. 8 passing TDs. Rodgers have 10. 108 passing rating. Rodgers have 130. So we can clearly see at this current stage, Aaron Rodgers, is still a whole lot better on a bag of chips than Patrick Mahomes. And remember, Aaron Rodgers don't have no Travis Kelce. Aaron Rodgers don't have no Tyreek Hill. Aaron Rodgers don't have no Hartman.
He has the best receiver in the game. Adams is the best receiver in the game.
That's debatable.
No, but to be honest,
that's debatable.
Debatable.
That is the
you double team that man and him still home. He's the best. All right.
People would say it's not debatable, but looking at the teams, Sorry, I'm not cut you. Looking at the teams, all right, we all know Kansas City Chiefs always every year the prohibited favorites. Their bar is set way up in the sky up at Pluto. right? Everybody else bar is here. So when
Hold on,
everybody
hold on.
everybody
Boss.
crowning,
Upper way?
Pluto, their bar,
Yeah.
it is set out in space. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying that
No.
the analysts and the pundits will tell you every year, oh, this is one of the greatest teams to ever be assembled, explosive. Patrick Mahomes is the best passer we've ever seen. He's an all-time trajectory, and it's, the sensationalize it. So their bar is set here. So everybody coming in every season, Kansas City going to the AFC Championship. Kelsey is arguably one of the best receivers ever. He's top 5. Some people have him as the best, but yeah, he's right up there as all-time great receiver. They have Tyreek Hill, explosive weapon. So when you look at the team itself overall, you could argue that the team that Kansas City have is a better offensive team. We can't talk about the defense because the defense have come on strong late for Kansas City. But when you match up the teams versus each other, everybody would admit that, listen, KC coming into the season, probably not because the record went on to be 3-5 halfway into the season. They were the team that persons were looking to go further than even Green Bay. So looking at the team, overall, team for team, persons with the Patrick Mahomes as a better team working with and always has a better weapons. Overall, I'm not talking about isolated receiver, Devontae versus Tyreek. The offensive weapons that Kansas City have, when you match it up to what Green Bay has, they would give Green Bay the Chiefs the edge on that. So when you look at what Mahomes working with, coming into the season being halfway into the season having that sub 500 record, they were probably the biggest disappointment. They have come on strong in the last, I say 7 games, because I think they're on an 8-game winning streak. And you know what attributed to their 8-game winning streak? Not Patrick Mahomes playing out of his mind. Because when you check the rating and you look at the quarterback rating for just that month, it's 108 passer rating, right? And when you look at the defense, the last 8 games, they are the number 1 defense. You can check the stats. I think they are 11 points per game over that win streak, right? So the defense has been playing out of their mind. And with Patrick Mahomes playing just about at, all right level, because he's not been sensational. That is why, even though they are I think there are 10 and
11
and 4. Right, they are 11 and 4 right now, and nobody talking about Patrick Mahomes, even though they won A3. Why? In the MVP race, because he's not been special. Because it's the defense that has been carrying that team. So when you look at the teams now, matching up KC versus Green Bay, I think clearly far and above. Rodgers has been playing better with less than what Mahomes is doing with KC, to be honest.
All right, so in the interest of time, I want us to start to switch over to the games that are being played on Sunday. We have a full house on Sunday. But let's talk about we're gonna talk about the games right now because in the interest of time. All right, so the first game I'm looking at right now is the Baltimore Ravens against the Los Angeles Rams. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask each of you guys about individual games. Let me give Devin this one. The Ravens versus the Rams. Lamar Jackson is indeed coming back. This is make or break. This is make or break for the Ravens. Should the Ravens lose this game, they are out of the playoffs. Also make or break for the Rams because the Rams want to win the NFC West. Arizona still on their heels. Arizona still can clinch the NFC West. How do we see this game going, Devin?
All right. Earlier we were talking about the talent of the team, the matchup, and I bring into you about like motivation for some teams, right?
Yeah.
So and like the mental aspect. So I was watching something where they said Donald says he's going out for revenge, not because he wants to win the division, but there was a primetime game when they were embarrassed by the Ravens. I think back in 2019 or 2020. I don't remember. 45-6 was the score.
Yeah.
45-6. So
I think it was last season.
Yeah, one of them season he had doing right. So he say he wants to come. He wants to be back. With for revenge for this game. And when you look at it, I know Ravens getting back some other players. even back from off of the COVID list though. But also with Matthew Stafford, one thing that they have mentioned here in terms of touchdowns, he's throwing like 22 touchdowns, and Ravens
Yeah.
at the beginning of the season, like even with the without their top quarterbacks, Humphrey and Peter, like they were out with I think with season-ending injuries. So in terms of the man-to-man thing,
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford is one of the best in terms of throwing touchdown when you give them like man-to-man coverage.
Yep.
And like with Ravens, they don't have much coverage with those two guys out. Other people step up, but they're looking for him to have like a great game. I'm looking for him to have a great game. And Cooper Kupp, is doing well. And I'm just thinking, even though Ravens need this game to get into the playoffs, Rams also need it. They also need it. So I'm going with the Rams in this game because all in all, they're more healthy. And a lot of these things that we're going to look at too, health-wise, we're going to look at health-wise, but also like the COVID aspect to it, because normally we're looking to like injuries, say who is injured. But now we have to look at who's on COVID list, who's not on COVID list. And I think Rams has the better squad overall, and they have more healthy players, and I think they get the better of the Ravens. But I think it's a close one, going to be a close one. Kems, I know you love to talk about me trying to get perfect score in some of these games, but I'm going to go for one of my favorite score, the 27-24. Yeah.
All right, 27-24.
In the favor of Rams.
In the favor of Rams. So, Gary, I'm going to give you Tennessee versus the Miami Dolphins. How we see that one going? Miami Dolphins are right now in the playoffs. I think they're 8-7 right now, going up against Tennessee. Tennessee is leading their division. How do you see it going?
All right. The Miami Dolphins have been really good the last. I think they started out 0-7.
1-7.
1-7. Yeah, and they are on a 7-game winning streak. They are the first team in NFL history, or they would be if they made the playoffs, to start a team that started out 1-7 actually made such a poor record actually made the playoffs. So they have been really good over the last 7 games. I haven't really played any great teams because when you look at you beat who you have in front of you, but they have played some poor teams, but they capitalize on who they play. When I'm looking at this game, they will be away to the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans record, they are good at home, 6-2, and the Dolphins have struggled away. They are 3-4. Dolphins have been really playing well defensively over the last few games. I'm looking at this game as a real tight, low-scoring game. I think defense and running the ball will be very critical in this game. I don't see a high-scoring game in this one. I think the Titans, it would serve them well to run the ball. I know the rush yards.
Who they gonna run the ball with?
Well, they are basically they don't really have a running back right now that really drives fear into anybody. But I don't really trust Tannehill, to be honest. I don't trust Tannehill. And going into the playoffs, you need to really step up in the running game. I'm not sure if Henry will be back.
He will be back for the playoff.
Yeah, the word is that he will be back, so that's a good look for them. But going into this game, I see Miami really running the ball. They will have a better chance running the ball reaction with Tua. Tua has been protecting the ball, fairly well over the last few games, minimizes the interception.
Let me just give you. Let me help you a little bit. Tua is number 1 in the league in passing completions. Just remember that. Number 1 in the league.
Well,
Dinkin and Dunkin.
Thank you. I know it's a big problem. I never even want to bring up that.
Tom Brady did that for 10 years. Tom Brady did that 10 years straight.
No. Just you just talk the full story, not half of the story. It's Dinkin and Dunkin.
You're the man them gone in a Tom Brady, Listen, what has been playing? Well, I'm not telling any lies. I'm continue. All right, so I'm looking at this game as a close, low-scoring game. To be honest, I kind of like the Titans at home. They don't really have anybody to run the ball well. They're running back there. I think Duke Johnson, and the other guy, Gaskin. They do a very good job running the ball. The Dolphins allow 102 yards per game rushing. So if the Titans had really had a very good running game, they could capitalize on that. But I don't really see them having any running back that can do any damage in this game. But I'm leaning towards the Titans because they'll be at home and they want to, get some momentum going into the playoffs. The Dolphins really, I don't know if I'm going to say that luck will run out, but this is really the toughest challenge yet in this win streak. I know Kem's kind of in our back of his head have a little reservation about what I'm saying, but this will be a test to me. Over the last 8 games, this will be the first real big test I'm seeing for them, because even say what I want to say about the Titans though, they have they are 10-5, the lead in the AFC, so a very good division to write home about, but they have been playing well. They have a little hiccup in the last couple of games, but I expect this to be a low scoring game, and I expect the Titans to kind of pull away in the end.
All right, so you spend the last 3 minutes trying to convince yourself that the Titans will win this game. They're trying to convince us. Let me tell you, this will be one of the easiest games the Dolphins has ever played. Because I'm telling you, Ryan Tannehill right now is playing again. Remember, he used to play for Miami. Right now, he's going to throw at least 3 interceptions in that game, or 2 interceptions and a fumble. And Tua obviously is going to do what he does. Some person's talking about dinking and dunking. I never know 40 yards and 30 yards through is dinking and dunking, but that's how it goes in your bad mind. It's okay.
20 and 30 yard receive him throw a shot and receive a run.
No, they have great yard after catch. Check the yards after catching King. Miami has been doing well with that yards after catching.
I'm not talking about yards after catch.
We just want to know that.
Talking about yards after catch, boss. Hey, but let us move on from that. Dwayne, I'm giving you this game: Kansas City Chiefs versus the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. This game is gonna be played in Kansas City, right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, in Cincinnati. Sorry, in Cincinnati. In Paul Brown Stadium.
Yeah. This is gonna be a tough game, right? But I'm gonna give the Chiefs the edge in this game because of Burrow has been playing tremendous. They have a good offensive team, but I think Kansas City is more complete because what a lot of people don't understand with Kansas City this season, they might not be blowing people off the park as they normally do, but all facets of their game has come together. They're playing good defensively. They're running the ball better. They're running the ball more now. So there's less pressure on Patrick Mahomes to make these big splash plays. So you remember earlier in the season, I was telling you that he is forcing it and he should go to his check down. That's exactly what he's doing right now. So I give the Chief a slight edge, but this is gonna be, to me, this is the game of the week. To see two of the future star of the NFL dueling out, one trying to win, both of them trying to win their division. I think Kansas City can anybody in that division, what is the Chargers record right now? I don't remember.
The Chargers record right now, no, they're 7-8, I think. Yeah,
8 and 7 or 7 and 8.
They're last.
Well, they can. Well.
Ours 8 and 7.
I would say the Chief,
yeah,
but I would say the Chief, but
the Chiefs already win the division,
Yeah, they're gonna win the division. Chargers are 8 and 7, guys.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but
So,
I pick the Chief, but I wouldn't put any money on it because these Bengals are more desperate.
all right. So you're telling me that Joe Burrow is having a great season, right? You can tell me if this is great, because I think we are forgetting what great is. According to Pro Football Focus, I love that. I love myself some Pro
You know, you
Football
know like
Focus.
Burrow, you know, but go on, let me hear it. You know,
Is
Burrow.
for attempts, right? Attempts for throws, 481 throws. He's tied for 12th in the league. Yeah,
Right.
passing yards, 4,165, sixth in the league. Passing touchdowns, 30, tied for seventh in the league. But the very big one that differentiates who is great and who is great cousin, interceptions. Joe Burrow has 14 interceptions, and that is
Just
tied,
like Tom Brady, the
and
goat.
that is, yeah, well, Tom Brady is not the GOAT, you're a GOAT. But that
No
is
bother
that
with
is
that,
tied
Kim. No bother with that.
that is tied for number one in the league. Obviously,
How much touchdown?
you said so he
30
has 30
touchdowns
touchdowns,
and
14
him 16
interceptions.
yardage.
All right.
Isn't that a good season?
Kim,
Isn't that a great season?
No, not a
no,
great
no,
season.
doing. I wouldn't say that's a great. I probably stretch on a little bit too much. I would say he's having a
For a
fairly good
young
season.
quarterback in his second.
No, but remember, I know it's not his rookie season. I think his trajectory is supposed to be going up. But
Hold on. He got
mhm.
hurt. This is really
Yeah,
his
I remember his
first full
injury.
season. He was hurt and him never play. I don't think he played half of the game last season. So
Yeah,
basically, this is
no.
his first full season, and he's putting
True,
up these
true.
numbers.
Yeah, I'd say he's having a
Wow.
good season. I wouldn't say great, but he's having a good season.
Well,
A
hold
fairly
on.
good.
What was the culture of the Cincinnati Bengals before Burrow came there?
I don't think Joe Burrow is the only one that changed the culture. Let us reason like we have some sense. Joe Burrow wasn't the
No.
only one who went to hold on. No,
No
we're not
man.
gonna make it we're not gonna make it get away with that
Oh, yeah,
rubbish.
no, man.
Joe
Talk your rubbish. Talk your
Joe
rubbish.
Burrow
Talk your
Joe
rubbish.
Burrow isn't the only one. First of all, the coaching staff was completely changed out, and they got an offensive coach, a young coach who actually have sense. So that was the first change that they made. Okay, then they
Right.
get Joe Burrow. Getting Joe Burrow, you think if they had Joe Burrow with all of the other weapons that they had there, it would have been good? No. But they went out and they got him weapons, got him wide receivers, got him an offensive line. Remember that first year when he come, the offensive line was so
It's terrible. It was
atrocious.
terrible.
Yes,
And,
but
Mhm.
and he was running
what
for his
is
life.
but you're still not answering the question that I'm saying. What was the culture of Cincinnati? First thing, them have the cheapest owner in the business. It's not like they
Okay.
went out.
They're still
It's
cheap,
not like
but
they
they're still
went.
cheap.
Yeah, they still hold on. No? It's not like they went out and went into free agents like New England and get some good player. They did it in the draft. Most of
What's
their
wrong with
Mhm.
that?
success has been coming through the draft. And the main success that they have, because we can't tell about this about the NFL. Look how many other teams have great weapon and they don't have the quarterback. What are their records?
Mhm.
What look at the Panthers. They have good wide receivers. They have a great defense. They started out 4-0. What is their record? Why are they struggling?
So
And
so you're
look
telling me
at the
so if,
division.
so if,
Look,
so if Joe Burrow was on the Panthers, they would be in the playoffs.
yes,
No man, definitely. I wouldn't disagree with that.
I
yes.
wouldn't disagree
Because
with it
look
either.
here.
I wouldn't
Look
No,
at
disagree
the
with
no,
it.
no.
division
James,
where
you
them are
can't have
in.
much
I
as
wouldn't disagree.
nothing. James, no bother
Look
with
at
that. Bother with that.
Have
the
you seen
division where
Sam
them are in.
Darnold?
No man,
The
James, as much
AFC
as
North.
me not agree with the term that Dwayne use about great season, I'm not saying he's having a poor season, having a fairly good season for us
Look
for
at the
this season. It's
teams.
correct.
The most
But he would
competitive division in the NFL is the AFC North, and he's leading that division.
he's doing well. Moon said great, but because
Hold
the
on, then
great thing
from
is,
last
is,
to
is
first, the other three teams in that division made the playoffs last year.
relative to the other teams in the division, he's doing well. I'm not telling a
No,
lie.
but
But
in the most
compared to
competitive division in the AFC, so you have to look at who is playing against for six of the games.
Yeah, man, I like him as a quarterback. I think he has a bright future. Not tell a lie. He's doing fairly well. I expect the trajectory to be up next year, but I wouldn't say he's having a great season. He's having a good season because if you look at the great numbers, he would be really right up there in terms of the touchdown to interception ratio, and I probably be right up there in terms of
But
quarterback rating. He's probably,
yeah,
as the number suggests, I think Kem said he was at 15 in QBR, 15 pass yards. So he's about a top 7, top 8 quarterback. But I wouldn't say great. He's
and
doing
it
good.
is
He's doing good.
Right.
for his first. I'm talking
He's
relative
doing
to
good.
his
He's doing good.
experience. He's not.
He's
He's
doing
not a
good. But
he's not a season quarterback. This is really his first full
So,
season.
no,
He not play
it was
20 game in the NFL yet.
no. He played
Me not,
more
how
than
much him got?
20
Him,
games. He played more than 20
him
games.
I
not
think he
him not
might be,
gone,
yeah.
but
Tua
him
I think
played
don't
the
he
pass
least.
might have
25
played.
game.
Yeah, and probably not
Least
reach
amount.
30 games. But he
Tua
plays
played
more.
the
He
least
plays.
amount of game as like a second-year quarterback. Not the blasted Joe Burrow. But as I said,
No, Ken's a really like Joe Burrow. I know a
him
LSU
throw
man still.
him throw 500 and something yard against some janitors and postmen. And
Yeah, no, he didn't.
we want to
I
give
know
this
say
man
if two of them do that
give
against the
this
same
man
side,
rose.
they don't load it
No,
up. The
brother,
next two.
Tua just carve up your defense where the goat couldn't score a
Tua
point.
can
Fine.
never.
Right?
No, I understand. We don't have a
Tua
problem.
carve, look here now, Tua carve them up. I'm not even coming here and saying about that.
No,
Because it's
but
business as usual. It's business as
because he
usual.
was playing. Hold on, no, I'm gonna use your same argument. He was playing against a guy off the street. Nobody know that quarterback that Tua was
Who
playing
cares about the
against. He was
quarterback?
awful. No,
Joker Ian Book. No, the
yeah, you
defense, hey,
understand.
Kems, to be honest, 20-3. When you look at it, sometimes, the defense, what is happening on the defense is attributed to what the offense playing. The defense could have been the 85 Bears. They're not going to get tired. If you put the defense
Yeah,
on the team,
But
they're not going to struggle.
no. But then if you look at the game, Tampa versus the Saints,
Mm-hmm.
defense was on the field a whole lot.
All right, fear. But some of the times you have to use some things as probably like an aberration or an anomaly. Say the Tom Brady Saints thing, you can't explain it.
Again,
You just
that's
have the
a
man.
divisional. It's a divisional rival, so they know
Them
each
just have
other
the
very
man,
well.
boy. They pick tonight.
If you
So,
are the GOAT, you can't go 0 points against Taysom
No,
Hill.
see,
You just
I
can't.
know you come with that
Yeah,
thing.
no, but the goat, man, and
no.
this year the man became the goat. The man was the goat from before. He at
And
44.
no,
But
listen.
Kenzie, I
Nobody,
change your mouth,
No.
Me,
Hold on, no.
Ken's
Hold on,
change
no.
your
nobody
Hold on,
mouth.
no.
at this
Hold on,
age
no.
has
Dwayne,
ever played this well in the NFL.
listen. If somebody give you a GOAT title, then them can take it back as well. I am saying you can't score.
Say you take it back now.
No, you
Hold on.
can't score 0 points against Taysom Hill.
Hold
You
on.
just
Who
can't
are
do that.
your goat in a basketball?
My GOAT
No
in
bother with that.
basketball.
We know that.
Ask me tomorrow. It's the NFL show. Ask me tomorrow. Hey,
Yeah, man. Watch
yeah.
it.
Just ask me tomorrow who's my GOAT. But Devin, back to you, yeah, boss. Let me ask you about this game because these people talking about some GOAT dude and not the actual GOAT. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Arizona Cardinals, Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Who, and let me just give you a little bit of intro. The last time Dallas going to roll up the score against somebody, it was against that Atlanta Falcons team. Them scored 43 against them. And then the next game, them come drop must 9 points against the Chiefs. The Chiefs and lose that game. So now them score 56 against Washington. I'm expecting probably 10, 13, 15 points against the Arizona Cardinals. Would you agree?
Yeah. I agree. If they're gonna what?
You think they're gonna
score
win
for
the card? You think they're gonna win or the Cardinals gonna win?
I'm looking for Dallas to win because I mean the last time they play, it was they got a beat down. I think it was a 38-10 or something like that, right? So but this time now they have a better offensive line, you know. Right now, like somebody has mentioned it before, the Cardinals have started well, but they are the loser of three straight, right? You know, there was a buzz about Kyler Murray and everything, but now right now he's not doing well. He's not having his best game. I know he probably had an injury, Micah Parsons, I know people has been not only totaling him for rookie of the year,
Defensive player of
they
the year.
also totaling him for defensive, up there for the defensive player of the year. So the Cowboys doing well, I see some stats where they beat up two no good team. No disrespect to the teams. They run up some scores. They run up scores in Washington twice, but no, they run them into a big team. So we want to see how they're gonna perform. No, for the playoff, that they clinch NFC East, which is one of the worst, if not the worst, division.
NFC least.
Right? So I'm thinking Cardinals also have a playoff spot locked. So, but Dallas will really want to keep that momentum going into the playoffs because people are gonna judge them into the playoffs because everybody gonna say, you know what the talk is, Kims, the NFC East, and it's I don't know. We don't want to use fact. We don't want to use the term fact, but the AFC East the NFC East is one of the worst. So the judge play in the playoffs. It's not like series game where like in basketball. So they have to do well when it comes to the playoff, and this will be one of the best games for them to show that they are for real. They want to show that they are for real, and Dak wants to show, okay, he's worth that franchise tag. And I see them getting revenge on the Cardinals from last year, and just because of the state of mind of the Cardinals right now and how they've been playing. I know they're coming off 3 straight losses. I know they can come back and beat the Cowboys, but I'm going for Cowboys to win just because of the current form. Even though we look at statistics and we analyze the game, that some of the Dallas has been playing some weaker teams and running up scores. But I'm looking for them to win this game by at least a touchdown. I'm not going to give a score line to say whatever, but I'm looking by at least a touchdown.
All right. So you have a player on Dallas, right? Named Trayvon Diggs. And he has 11 interceptions and everybody's jumping up and down. But do we know that for targets, right? He has been targeted 93 times. He has been targeted 93 times in this league. He's tied for third, and the receptions allowed, he has allowed 53 receptions, which is tied for 10. So even though he's getting those interceptions, of course, the law of averages will tell us that if somebody throw the ball at you that many times, you must catch some. Some must short, some must this. I think Kyler Murray, and I hear that Hopkins will probably be back. I'm not really sure. I hear his touch and go game time decision. That's what I read the last time. Don't know if it changed, but I believe that Kyler Murray will go at like Trayvon Diggs guy. If he gets one interception or so be it. But I believe he likes to jump routes, and I believe Kyler Murray can go ahead and I think the Cardinals gonna win this game easily. I'm just picking the games that that makes sense. Some of these games though. All right, Gary, I'm going to give you this last game, and then we're definitely going to wrap it up. The Indianapolis Colts versus the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are still out there with a fighting chance to make the playoffs. Obviously, I believe that the Colts is really cemented in that spot, but the Colts will still be looking to try and see if they can, win that division. With a Tennessee L, because we know Tennessee L already book, right? So the Tennessee L book. And so if the Colts win this game, right? If the Colts win this game, it's going to be really crazy because now the Colts will move to 10-6, and Tennessee will move to 10-6. Obviously, Tennessee still has the tiebreaker, but we know Tennessee going to lose that last game. So, hey, Gary, how do you see this game going? I thought Carson Wentz was out, but I see he got upgraded.
Yeah, I saw. Is he in?
Today.
He wasn't out.
Got cleared today.
He got cleared today.
Because he's going to get vaccinated because them say unvaccinated players have to sit out a particular
but hold on.
No man,
the CDC upgraded the guidelines, so the NFL start work with the CDC guidelines.
So they work with a 5-day thing now.
Yeah. So it don't go for vaccinated or unvaccinated player anymore. So he got he's very lucky.
Very, very lucky.
Okay, because that would be me picking as much as Carson Wentz is not, a world beater. not knowing who the quarterback, him not being there, that would significantly affect the Colts' chances as bad as people tend to think he is. But looking at this game, the Colts are 9-6, the Raiders are 8-7. The Colts have been playing really well last few games. Jonathan Taylor has been running the ball, wonderfully. The Colts are not, I think I'm looking at it, the last 3 games, they are 4-1 in the last 5. The Raiders are 3-2. The Colts are at the top of the league in running the ball. We all know that they run the ball well, 155 yards per game. The Raiders are about 90.5 yards per game. The better offensive team is the Colts, score about 28 points per game. And the Raiders are just about 21. I'm looking at the quarterback situation. To be honest, looking at Derek Carr versus Wentz, as bad as Wentz is, I'll take him on some of his, okay days versus Carr. Carr tends to make a lot of ridiculous mistakes, just as bad as Wentz is. I think I will trust Wentz about even 10% more than Derek Carr. He played well the last game. The Raiders are fighting for their playoff lives. But in this game, I see the run being very, very important, critical to the Colts. I think they want to do what they do best. They will want to continue that by running the ball, right? And they will run the ball in this game. Jonathan Taylor will do his thing, and they will work the play action with Wentz. If the Colts can dominate the time of possession and dominate the clock, it will force the Raiders to throw the ball a lot. And, you don't trust Derek Carr throwing that ball 30 times a game. Trust me, you will lose. I'm looking at the Colts trying to continue their form and pushing the momentum in going into the playoffs. So I'm expecting the Colts to win this game. I don't trust the Raiders. I don't like the Raiders. The matchups I really don't like. I don't trust. If they had a great running game like the Colts, then you could say, all right, fine, they'll lean to that. But the Colts have a superior running game, and they'll tend to lean on that. And then the Raiders will do what they do best, make the mistakes of Derek Carr throwing the ball too much, down in a hole too early. So I'm looking at the Colts for this one.
All right. So we reached that time of the evening where we've already went over our time. So I'm going to give each of you guys 30 seconds. But first I want to thank everybody who was in the comment section, everybody who was viewing but wasn't commenting. So Devin, here's your 30 seconds to just go and talk about anything you want to talk about.
All right, quickly. So, I want to talk about basketball. And, Kim, sometimes you talk about Lakers. I know you switched to Miami and you say I'm a Lakers fan, not a LeBron James. But, I want to share the spotlight on LeBron James quickly. And, even though he's not my favorite player, but he comes to Lakers, I have to support him and I have to appreciate his greatness. Now, this man is what? He turned 38 recently.
37.
37, sir.
No,
37.
Yeah, 37.
84
At age 37, what he's doing, I trust me, it's really amazing. I will have to, some players, they're great, but they're always off the field. Like Luka, great, injured. Other players, great, injured, but this man seldomly gets injured. No, he's at 38. He's scoring at 28.6. He's averaging 28.6. And we talk about providing stats. So let me just share this real quick because I know it says 30 seconds, right? This is his stats from this season. 25 games played. Right? He's averaging over nearly 37 minutes, Gary. Nearly 37 minutes. So man barely getting the rest. 28.6 points. His field goal percentage is 52.5.
Dang!
And look, in the past, I used to be one of those Kobe Bryant versus LeBron, and I used to say, all right, yes, of course, because he drives to the basket and he's like a train. But since recently,
I don't know if it's because his body's getting tired, but he's making more perimeter shots. I'm telling you, he's not driving to the basket like that before and going in. He's making a lot more jump shots and 3-point shots.
He
So
has the
that field
logo tree too.
yeah, that field goal percent, 52.5 is great. He's shooting 37.6 from the 3-point line, 7.5 rebounds and 6.6 assists. He's still there with 1.7 steal and 1.1 blocks. Those are the stats. But looking at that, you would say, oh, that's impressive. But watching him, I've watched the last 4 Laker games, right? But in the last 2 games, like they're putting like 2 people out on him one season on the perimeter, and I'm saying, whoa, LeBron James? That's why I say I got to talk about LeBron. 2 people coming to guard him at the line, at the 3-point line, like Steph Curry and Dame kind of thing.
Steph James.
Yeah, I know it's
listen, all right, listen. The man have a little one answer.
Gary. You man in 30 seconds, brother.
Yo, I know it's Portland and they're not good, but it was 5 from 10 from the 3. Against Grizzlies. Yo, if we had like one more person against Grizzlies, because we're up on the Grizzlies, man. But yo, Rust and some other players, he was 8 of 14 from downtown. And Jamaran, he was 6 of 6 from the, it's just like a one game where I don't think he's gonna repeat 6 of 6 from downtown. But LeBron James, trust me, man. I have greatness, man, and I'm just appreciating it because I'm never ever the one to come and brag about LeBron. But the way, not just his stats, I give you the stats, people, but I watch my Lakers play. And
30 seconds are done, man.
My 30 seconds done, man. I'm gonna more, but trust me.
That's a talk about it.
Come in with it.
You must know greatness. I'm gonna talk about LeBron.
Come in with the hate now, Gary. Come in with the hate.
But we have to give him props, man. We have to give him props.
Thank you very much for that, David. And tomorrow on the NBA show, we will definitely expound. But I'm glad that you're seeing that. I remember I came on here and some people with their blasphemy telling, oh, this guy is not top 5 in the league. He is not top 5. I'll be like, you must be out of your blast. If you want to say he's not number 1, okay, I can live with that. But not top 5. There's not 5 players in the NBA right now better than LeBron. Impossible. Dwayne, go ahead with your 30 seconds. Let me let Gary cool down a little bit.
Yeah. I'm gonna take I'm happy to be back on the show. May really enjoy the interaction with all of the panelists and
always. Yes, sir.
And I'm no longer on vacation, so I'll be here. I'm committed to the show every Saturday, so I'll be here. So I want to hear what Gary have to say still, so I head my 30-second shot. Go ahead, Gary.
All right, Gary. You have 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'm not talking about LeBron. Oh, Lord, LeBron. But just a touch on like NFL quickly. Everybody know my side, you know what I mean? I really want to talk about them, but I'm looking at the team. If they had won against Miami, I think they said they would have a 70% chance to make the playoffs. Now they are down to 34% chance because even if they win the last 2 games to finish 9-7 or 9-8, so they'd have to get some help. And I'm looking back at the wasted opportunities, in a few games, losing by 2 points to both Tennessee and Atlanta, who wet the bed the following week. So the defense has been playing really outstanding. You wasted 0 points outing from the GOAT the last game and come back here, come wet the bed because they don't really have a quarterback. So I'm hoping next season, I don't know if James Winston is a long-term answer, but I believe that if he was there, they would probably have a better record because, trust me, Taysom is an upgrade from Trevor Siemian, but I think the quarterback play that struggles, and it shows how important in the league the quarterback position is because you can have the best defense in the league, right? You can have prolific weapons on offense, but if you don't have somebody to get the ball, you can manage the game and do something when it comes to. When we're looking at the game at Miami, they turn it off in the third quarter and it came to bun me, man. I mean, I said the defense is playing pretty well, but boy, Ian, like, man, disappointed. I thought he would be, after I put my neck out and say, Kems come shame me this week after I say, yeah, I have a feeling. But I hope next season can turn it around. I think they need to really draft a quarterback. in the field. But we don't have no
And
quarterback. We don't really have no
and get
quarterback in the job.
Russell
And they
Wilson.
don't.
We don't have the team
Or
already.
better option is because I think Wilson will come available next year, so we can probably lower him to. Even though Sierra, I don't know if New Orleans is a market where.
Yeah, man, New Orleans is definitely a market I think she'll be interested in for sure.
Yeah, because they have entertainment. But
Yep.
let's see how that goes next season. But interesting times ahead.
All right, so definitely happy New Year again to one and all. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Devin, who was here earlier. Producer, big up yourself. Producer, I'm going to stay back, or we can talk off here, whichever it is, so we can handle that. But guys, remember, we have some great things happening in this new year. Gary, get all of your church people them see it.
Yeah, man,
They can
them
least
and
come on and thing. All right, then.
Yeah.
Some man and big up on yourself, and we'll talk.
Yeah, man, bless them.
Yes,
All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace.